Secrets will be shared with you. All of what we want to explore. You have no say over what I do to maintain. You got know all of your dirty, dirty secrets. You have been dishonest with secret for so long. The secrets of the girls will always be revealed.
Well, hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Madam Merkaba's Mysteries Beyond the 11th Gate. Of course, I'm your presenter, Madam Merkaba. Okay, and there's a lot of very interesting things that we're going to be talking about on this series, which is going to be once a week. And we're going to go over some conspiracies. And of course, I'm going to give my input of what I feel, what I believe. But the final opinion is yours. Do you believe anything that's being presented? Or is it false? Do you think that it is a conspiracy? Do you believe that it is made up information, whether it's on my behalf or other people's behalf? What do you believe? I'm willing to let you be the judge. So tonight's episode is very, very interesting. And I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff. I'm going to try to keep the episodes under 30 minutes. But I'm going to talk about a lot of things. I allow people to, decide what was the first episode going to be? And a lot of people actually voted aliens. So we're going to go into alien deception, true or false. I'm going to dive in and give you some history about UFO sightings and also share something that has recently come up in modern news. I hope I can share the screen when I get to that point and go over some stuff that just seems funny. Odd. I think that a lot of you who watches this video or who watches my channel, if you're already here, I think you're into astrology. I think you're into mysteries. And of course, if you find your way to this channel, it's your very first time watching, well, enjoy the ride. So tonight's episode brings us to the first ever documented, or would say modern culture, sighting of UFOs. Okay. The guy that's on the screen right now, his name is actually Kenneth Albert Arnold. And I don't know about y'all, but it had me a little It had me just questioning everything, right? Because this man has all first names for his first name, his middle name, and his last name. And all these names could actually also be last names. Okay, I know someone with the last name Arnold. I know someone with the last name Albert and Kenneth. So that was a little odd for me. But we're going to jump into some other things I may send out to you all. And I'm going to give you my input. So Kenneth Albert Arnold was born on March the 29th of 1915. He was an American aviator, businessman, and politician. Okay. He is best known for making what is generally considered the first widely reported modern day unidentified flying object sighting in the United States. After claiming that he's seen nine, okay, I want y'all to keep up with me. It's important if you can get a pen and paper. I want you to keep up with everything that I talk about in this video because you're going to ultimately decide. And I would love your comments on what you think this is factual or is it false? Is it made up? Is this some type of governmental cover up of something, right? So, nine unusual objects flying in the tandem near Mount Rainier, Washington, on June 24th, 1947. Now, this is a very important date because this is Tuesday, June 24th, 1947. If you were to add up the year only, this will come to the number 3. And if you were to add up the month and the day, this would also be a number 3, which you will get 33, which will become 6. This is a Tuesday, okay? This happened on a Tuesday, which is connected to Mars. And of course, I'm going to get into very shortly why this matters, okay? After his alleged sighting, Arnold investigated reports of UFOs writing and speaking about the topic for years to come. So this man kind of appointed himself as the UFO writer, speaker, investigator in America. Okay, after he had this sighting, it piqued his curiosity allegedly to where he wanted to research about UFOs. Okay, and he was writing and speaking about it for years. In 1962, Arnold won the Republican Party's nomination for lieutenant governor of Idaho, losing in the general election. We know that when it comes to colors, that Republican is red and Democrats is blue. And I want you to remember this, okay? Arnold was born on March the 29th of 1915, and he was born in Minnesota. But he grew up in Scobey, Montana. He was an Eagle Scout and all-star football player in high school. He also attended University of Minnesota, and his family was Lutheran faith. In 1938, Arnold began working for a manufacturer of automatic firefighting equipment called Red Comet. Now, Red Comet, I want you to research Red Comet and not the manufacturer of automatic firefighting equipment. I want you to look up what is a Red Comet. So 1937, 9 years prior to this sighting, he mysteriously, a boy from Sebeka, Minnesota, no connection to nobody allegedly, began working for a manufacturer firefighting equipment place called Red Comet. He was promoted to district manager the following year, 1940. Arnold started his own company, the Great Western Fire Control Supply in Boise, Idaho, which sold and installed fire suppressant systems. And this job took him all around Pacific Northwest. Now, I'm going to jump into, because I don't want to get too far into the backgrounds of his life. I want to focus on UFO sighting and what brought us into this discussion in 2023. On June the 24th, 1947, Kenneth Arnold claimed that he saw a string of 9 shiny, unidentified flying objects flying past Mount Rainier at speeds that Arnold estimated at a minimum of 1,200 miles an hour. 1,200 miles comes out to the number 3 again. So we have 333. Keep up with me, okay? This was the first post-World War II sighting in the United States that garnered nationwide news coverage, and it's credited with being the first of modern era of UFO sightings. Even though we know prior to this, there was, stories about unidentified flying, objects and stuff all around the world. But this is the credited, right? The nationwide news coverage, right? Accredited, okay? It was credited, okay? Including numerous reported sightings over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Arnold's description of the objects also led to the press quickly coining the term flying saucer and flying disc as popular descriptive terms for UFOs. The Maury Island UFO hoax also came up during this. Arnold became famous practically overnight. Arnold's daughter would later recall finally receiving 10,000 letters and constant phone calls. Arnold was contacted by Raymond A. Palmer, editor of Fringe sci-fi magazine Amazing Stories, who asked Arnold to investigate the story of the two harbor men in Tacoma who reportedly possessed fragments of a flying saucer. Palmer sent $200 to fund the investigation. Now, I do want to stop there, okay? Because things get very, 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 very creepy. When I saw that this man's name was Kenneth Albert Arnold, I had to do some digging because, like I said, going into June 24th, 1947, being on a Tuesday, we have that Mars energy. And I also had to go in and see what his name actually means, right? So we pulled up the Gematria calculator. As you can see here, we have 3 examples of what Kenneth Arnold, because he went by Kenneth A. Arnold, or a lot of documentation just saying Kenneth Arnold. In Hebrew Gematria, his name equals 403, which comes out to 7. And this is significant. Okay, stay with me. Write down Kenneth Arnold, Hebrew Gematria, 7. Going into simple Gematria, the number totals out to 141, which in returns become the number 6. Remember I told you June 24th, 1947 comes out to 33 when you add the numbers together. The number 6 is connected to Venus. He's, by the way, a life path number 5. The number 3 is connected to Jupiter. 3 plus 3 equals 6. But also, Mars is connected to the number 9. It can also be connected to number 6 because 6 and 9 is one and the same. You flip it around. 6, sex, passionate energy. We know that Mars energy depicts sexual energy, sexual frequency. So I did want to point that out. But either way, going into 8 plus 4, we can even go 4 plus 6 is 10, and 10 plus 8 is 9. So now we're getting into 9 with the English Gematria, which is still 6, and then the simple Gematria, which is 6. By the way, June the 24th was in the season of Cancer. The symbol for Cancer is 69. This event happened 3 days after the summer solstice of 1947. If you're not, if your little senses are not tingling at the top of your head now about how is this all connecting, we're going to go into 1947 being the year of the pig. Okay? The year of the pig. And if you know, the pig is the 12th. Okay? 1 plus 2 is 3. The pig is the 12th zodiac sign in the Chinese astrology. Okay? It is said that pigs are usually self-disciplined, straightforward, gentle, calm, quick in mind, and thirsty for knowledge. Which says that Arnold was more than likely connected to some tea. Okay? This had me, once again, thinking. As I mentioned before, going into June 24th, coming to the number 3, 1947 coming to number 3, which makes it 33. 33 is also connected to the meaning, it is connected to gods, okay, of the 33 gods, okay, going even into the Buddhist, belief system. This is connected to the divine, okay, entity, the God body. Also, going into the Bible, the divine name of the Elohim appears 33 times in the story of creation in the opening chapter of Genesis. We know that the Elohim is also known as the Watchers. Okay, the Watchers, aliens. Okay, just some ideas thrown out there. Okay, interesting enough, Jesus also died at 33. People asked, how do we know that Jesus died at 33? Because, of course, the Bible doesn't say Jesus died at 33. But no, but the Bible does talk about Jesus becoming a minister at 30. And his ministry lasted about 3.5 years. He was crucified 3.5 years later by the Jewish people. So he died at 33. Jesus was also connected to harpazo, or also known as the rapture. Okay? The rapture, okay, come on in here. The rapture is also, oh, come on in here, a Latin word. It's a combination of a lot of words put together. But we're going to go into rapture. It's an act of carrying off. It is also a form of kidnapping, seizuring, sexually, advancing on people. You see here, RAPE. It comes from that word, okay, to basically touch someone against their will. And there are lots of stories out there of people who've been abducted by so-called aliens who say they were sexually touched, sexually violated. Once again, abduction, snatching away, seizing, kidnapping. When people are connecting aliens, they're always connecting abductions. I don't think it's a coincidence that 33 is connected to this man. I don't think it's a coincidence that 33 is connected to Kenneth Arnold. And just so happened, he came out and he talked about aliens. And even if you wanted to go into 6 + 3 is 9, he wanted to talk about aliens on June the 24th, 1947, which was a Tuesday. And just so happened, it connects to 33, Christ embodiment, and also Christ coming to rapture, abduct people, which, like I said, there's stories all throughout history of aliens abducting people, right? How ironic would that be? How strange would that be that this man would be the spokesperson? All of a sudden, he will become the spokesperson of aliens, UFO sightings, which of course we know connected to aliens because that's what it led into. Okay. I also want to point out that the retrograde for Neptune actually ended June 19th of 1947. Okay. A few days before this happened, right? During the summer solstice. Neptune retrograde deals with a lot of illusions, deceptions, fantasies, dreams, alternate realities. And so, yes, Neptune had just ended a retrograde, June 19, 1947. Okay. Going into, as I said, rapture coming from the word RAPE, which is to force someone to have sex with you. We all know that 6 says sex. It's all connected to number 6, which is also the number of man. As I said before, Elohim appears 33 times in the Bible, which means the watchers. Okay? Now, something that a lot of you may not also know, which we're going to lightly talk about during this time, and this just to go back into a little bit of United States history. And this is according to the United States Department of State Archives, 1945 to 1947. What I want to do is I want to pull this up on my screen, on my end, and I want to zoom in to tell you exactly what it said happened in 1947. Because a lot of things happen as a real event. And just so happen things will overshadow these real events. And I don't think it dawns on people to ask about these events. A lot of people just go with the flow. They believe what is being presented to them. They don't question it. So according to this, it said United States relations with Russia, the Cold War, 1945 to 1949. And I want to jump straight into the part where it says March of 1947, June of 1947, and June 5th of 1947, which, like I said, you can find it on the United States United States Department of State Archives. It says that on March 1947, Truman Doctrine, the Soviets aimed also to establish influence over Turkey and Greece in an effort to seek access to the Mediterranean. President Truman delivered a speech before Congress on March 12, 1947, asking for $400 million to provide assistance for Greece and Turkey in hopes to bolstering pro-Western governments there. In his speech, he enunciated the Truman Doctrine would serve to justify the U.S. Cold War policy of containment. The doctrine described the U.S. policy of supporting free peoples who resisted subjugation from armed minorities or outside pressures. Now, I know what that means to me, but I don't want to inflict anything onto you. But what does it mean where it says the doctrine described the U.S. policy of supporting free peoples who resisted subjugation from armed minorities or outside pressures? On June of 1947, it said U.S. efforts to control atomic energy. Atomic energy. In June 1947, the United States submitted proposals known as the Baruch Plan for the creation of an International Atomic Energy Development Authority to control all phases of the development and use of atomic energy. The United States offered to destroy its atomic weapons after international control and inspection became effective. The Soviet Union rejected the proposal. Now, what exactly is atomic energy? You want to know? Nuclear power. Nuclear power. Okay, it is an energy that's released through a nuclear reaction. If you also look up atomic energy, it also forms a merkaba. So the etymology for atomic is indivisible atom. Okay, indivisible. Okay, indivisible. Okay, an indivisible atom. Okay, not able to divide and to break up something. Very symbolic. Very symbolic. Very, 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 very symbolic. Very, very, very symbolic. Okay. Once again, I'm here to present evidence to you. And it's going to lead up to my opinion. But I want to know, what is your opinion of all this? Okay. I want to know what your opinion is to all of this. During this event, the moon phase was also in Virgo. The senses that are connected to Virgo are eyes and ears. Everybody was looking for flying saucers. Everybody was listening to the media about flying saucers. Okay. Now, this is going to go over some people's head, and I'm okay with that because a lot of things I talk about go over people's head. But this is gonna blow your mind like it blows my mind. Okay, we're gonna be looping around some T's. This may be the first, or this may be the longest episode because this is the first episode. But we will not go past a certain time. Okay, so bear with me. But I am so amazed to know, or to know that Mercury sextiles Mars. Okay, can we talk about it? On the date, the exact date. Okay, I want you to understand this. Okay, this is where the pen and paper needs to be really, 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 really taken notes and writing down. On June the 24th of 1947, Mercury sextiled Mars. And interesting enough, when Mars is sextiled with Mercury, or when Mars sextiled Mercury, there's going to be a lot of friendly challenges, a lot of discussions about controversial topics, okay? And there may be a lot of people being rubbed the wrong way. There's a lot of energy being put into play when this happened. Mercury is a very powerful, quick-moving planet. It deals with communication. It deals with direct communication. We know that Mars deals with strength, power, masculinity, and also excitement. Okay? If you want to know, Mercury sextiles Mars, and it's one and the same, on April the 8th of 2023, April the 23rd of 2023, June the 21st of 2023, and it will sextile again June the 21st of 2024. Now, this is important because in the recent weeks, in the recent months, there's been a lot of discussion about aliens. There's been a lot of discussion about aliens. And there's actually an event that took place on April the 30th of 2023, which is 77, which comes out to 14, which is 5. But either way, that's not important. It's still connected to the 7 number of completion. We also know that 7 is also a very divine, holy number. And as I mentioned before, Kenneth, if I did not mention, I'm going to mention now, Kenneth Arnold has a lot of 7s around him, especially going into the very first part where I showed you the gematria calculator, where in Hebrew gematria, he is the number 7. 4 plus 3 is 7. But either way, this connected to an event that took place in the recent months. And I'm going to see if I can share this because this is very, very, very interesting. Okay? Very, very interesting. I'm going to share a news article, okay, with you guys. And we're going to share 2 of them actually, because that's what started this episode. Okay. So bear with me, guys. Okay. That's what started this very first episode. What made me want to jump on this. Okay. So let's jump right on in, shall we?
A person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually we're terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look.
I want to point out he's very, very calm in this call. I don't know about y'all, but if I saw some 8 feet tall whatever, whoever, even a 8 foot tall poster, I'm a little startled. You don't sound scared or nervous at all.
Look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes.
Okay.
Like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes and they're not human. They're 100%.
He cannot explain the big eyes, the big mouth. He can't describe the big eyes, the big mouth.
They're not human.
Okay, a potential UFO investigation was sparked from this emergency 911 call in Las Vegas on April 30th. A family claims something crashed in their backyard. The video coming out just this week, they claim they saw non-human, that's the way it was described, beings walking around, and whatever it was, it looked right at them, they say. The officers who went to the home also reported seeing a flash in the sky. That's significant. Right before this 911 call came in, here's a look at police body camera video from that night.
This might sound like a really dumb question.
Because it does. It is dumb.
But did you guys see anything fall out of the sky? I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing.
Now I want to jump out from that. I want to jump back from that because you could see in this video footage that I just shared, this young man called the cops and 911, and he's alleging that he saw something in his backyard, and he did not seem like he was startled. It sounded like he was making shit up, to be honest with you. And I came on my YouTube and I told y'all that I feel like this man was making it up. And I always say this too. Well, no, I'm jumping the guns. Okay. So interesting enough, the family who alleged that they saw ghosts, or excuse me, they saw aliens in the backyard, believe it or not, is deciding that they want what? Just jump right in and see.
When the police break the law, we show up. Victims of police violence do not have representation. The ACLU is the chief defender of civil rights and constitutional liberties for all people. We want something better for our children.
So he took some cell phone video. It's hard to make out what's going on, but effectively in the backyard, when his parents came out and things were a bit chaotic, he did take some cell phone video. People online are really trying to scrutinize it and see if they can see shadows. I don't know if you can see it, if you peer, but they were quite frightened, the family. They were very nervous. The police even said the family was very nervous, and the kid, he's a teenager. He was very frightened during this encounter as well, as the police described it. You know, the internet can be a pretty nasty place. I know. And the internet has been pretty nasty to this little guy, this teenager. And so the teenager has now taken to TikTok to tell people to just kind of back off. He's having a tough time with all the criticism, and he's asking, you know, for a little bit of privacy. Take a look.
I already said what I had to say. If you want to believe it, believe it. I don't care no more. And just move on, guys. Forget about it and just bye.
Well, I mean, that's kind of hard. That's kind of hard. I mean, you know, there's no moving on, and I really don't know how this boy is. I don't know how old this boy is. But I saw video footage somewhere online, and of course, you could dig it up yourself. Like the day of, or the next day after this event, this boy got on, this teenager got on, and he said that him and his father both. But in the recording that I saw, the father was like, "Well, they told me that these things have big eyes, blah 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 blah." So that's where the mix-up was for me. And like I told you guys, March the 8th was the Mercury sextile. March the 23rd was the Mercury sextile, and 7 days after, Mercury and Mars have a sextile, and I know I'm not saying that right, but Mercury sextiles Mars. 7 days later, 7 being connected to Arnold, as well as March the 30th being connected to still the number 777. Ironically enough, it comes out about the aliens. And I saw other YouTube videos talking about Eva recently. I think like the other day, a YouTuber that I used to subscribe to was talking about it. and how their aliens are real and stuff. And I was just like, girl, all these psychics in the world, all these spiritual people in the world, and people still can't pinpoint when, what, why, how. Yeah, that's not really my business, honey. You do what you want to do. I'm just here to present evidence to you, and everyone could have their own idea of what this all leads to. Mysteriously enough, and we're not going to say mysteriously enough, but odd enough, Las Vegas, Nevada is actually the area or near the area known as Area 51, which, by the way, is connected to the number 6 again. So we have 33 again showing up. And so either way, this facility is alleging to have a whole bunch of mysterious stuff that takes place at this facility. Okay, I got this on Google. This is a sky view map allegedly of what Area 51 looked like. I don't know if this is government given. Clearly it's government given, because you won't be able to fly nothing up over that. Because from what I've heard and from what from what I've seen, there's signs outside saying no trespassing, and they will do some things to you. So now they're gonna let you fly a drone over the area to conclude if there's aliens being hidden. And every year there's people out there crying and protesting and saying, free the aliens, let the aliens go, oh my God. That type of thing. But either way, Area 51 allegedly has a lot of most advanced aircrafts. And this is a testing ground. That's why they said they do not allow people up in there. Allegedly, there's a lot of secret weapons there as well. I'm going to go over something that was given out. Allegedly, nobody knew anything about anything that was going on in Area 51 until 1989. And I want you to also write this date down, 1989, okay? 1989. And there was no real print, no real public imprint about Area 51 or anything that went down there until 1989, when a man going by the name Dennis, and they are alluding that this is a moniker name. That means that this is not his real name. A man by the name of Dennis told Las Vegas TV reporter a fantastical tale of alien ships, fantastical looking crafts, and secrets of the highest nature. Dennis, and this is in quotes again, telling me that it's a moniker, claimed to be an engineer at a classified test facility called S4, located near Area 51. Dennis worked in a hangar built into a mountainside. Back engineering a disc-shaped alien spacecraft to reveal its secrets. Okay, it had anti-gravity propulsions and the ability to change direction on a dime. It was able to perform invisibility, as well as it was driven by an undiscovered element. Dennis learned about the Earth's involvement in the 10,000-year pact with a civilization from the Zeta Reticuli star system, and about forms of physics and engineering that were centuries ahead of our own technology. So this is where the ideas in the 80s spewed that we had advanced race of people outside of ourselves into other, that was able to, they were powerful, they were smarter than us, even though we have history of about this from the Egyptians and the Mayans or whatever. But this is where it stemmed from, where people got these new tales and these new movies on and shit about, aliens and UFOs and all this other good stuff. But he claimed that there have been taking part in test flights of 9 different alien crafts. Now, let's go back, okay? In 1947, Arnold, I get chills right now telling out this story. In 1947, June 24th to be exact, Tuesday, Kenneth Arnold said that he saw 9 flying objects. In 1989, Dennis said that they have been test flights of 9, that he claimed to have taken part in a test flights of 9 different alien crafts that have been involved in explosion of an alien element. Okay. Now, I don't know. Let's just say theory is that Dennis guy had nothing. He had no knowledge of the 1947 alien sightings. Let's say, in theory, he had no knowledge of the 1947 9 flying objects. Okay. How mysteriously is it that he would be a part of a test flights of 9 different alien crafts? Within a few years, the conspiracy theory about Area 51 had grown to encompass the cold storage of alien bodies taken from the Roswell crash, fake moon landings, mutated Soviet midget pilots, weather control mechanisms, direct energy weapons, and tunnels to seek an underground bases, which were all alleged elements of the real story of Area 51. Now, I'm going to keep that there. Okay? This may be a part 2. But I'm going to keep that there on part 1. And I'm going to finalize, okay, that first episode of Beyond the 11th Gate, where mysteries are waiting to be discovered. And clearly, I'm going to give my opinion about it. The interesting part to me is you have Neptune and Uranus, Mars, and Mercury energy playing heavily in this alien discussions all around the world, documented throughout history and modern day history. You're seeing people talk about it. And I encourage you to do your research on days where people are talking about alien disclosures and also the good stuff, whether it's the government or not. What planets are in retrograde, what planets are in transit, and you will get a better idea of where I'm coming from with all of this. I entered in because according to Wikipedia, it said that Arnold, Mr. Kenneth Albert Arnold, because I got to say the man with 3 first names, died on January 16, 1984. Now, this is where things get a little spooky for me. I don't know about for you, but it's get a little spooky for me, honey. Things get a little spooky because when you calculate those dates, and the date that you're going to calculate is January 16, 1984, it comes out to the number 3. I feel that Kenneth Arnold is a moniker name of some sort. I feel that Kenneth Albert Arnold was connected to some type of secret group, secret organization. I feel that Mr. Dennis, it is alleged that Mr. Kenneth Arnold or Albert Arnold passed away in 1984. How ironic is it that 5 years later, maybe it's ironic, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's just how it is. 5 years later, an anonymous man named Dennis with no age, no race, no nothing, alleging that he is a part of a testing group, right? And that they flew 9 different alien crafts. Tested, okay? And this connects to the Kenneth Albert Arnold story. It's very much similar with the same energy. It's very much similar. 9 and 9. Why could it be 6? Why could it be 3? Why could it be 5? Why could it be 7? Why could it be 11? Why could it be 9? Where's all these 6s and 3s and 9s coming from? Something I want to get into very lightly, and I'm going to be done. I'm going to give you my final opinion, and I want to know what's yours. After the 1947 UFO sighting, Arnold became famous practically overnight. Arnold was contacted by Raymond A. Palmer, who was the editor of Fringe and Sci-Fi magazine Amazing Stories, who asked Arnold to investigate the story of the 2 Harvard men in Tacoma, which is Washington, who reportedly possessed fragments of a flying saucer. Palmer sent $200 to fund the investigation. On July 29th, Arnold interviewed a harborman who claimed that one of the objects began spewing forth what seemed like thousands of newspapers from somewhere on the inside of its center. So this flying object was like a newspaper boy or something, like a paper boy. These newspapers were turned out to be a white type of very lightweight metal fluttered to earth. The harbor men claimed the craft emitted a substance resembling lava rocks that fell onto his boat, breaking a worker's arm and killing a dog. Whoa, this is some deep shit right here. Arnold interviewed Fred Chrisman, an associate of the harbor men, who reported having recovered debris from Murray Island and having witnessed an unusual craft. Chrisman showed white metal debris to Arnold, who interpreted it as mundane and inconsistent with the harbor man's description. So it's already going over like fake storylines are being built around this. It just so happened that they hired this man to go investigate this hoax. Okay. Arnold contacted the Air Force allegedly, and 2 officers soon arrived to investigate. 2 Air Force officers came to investigate the Maury Island situation. The officers conducted interviews, collected the fragments, and took off in the plane to return to the base. In the early hours of August the 1st, the 2 officers died when the B.25 Mitchell they were piloting crashed outside of Kelso, Washington, on their way back to California. Writing in 1956, Air Force officer Edward J. Werfield would conclude the whole Maury Island mystery was a hoax. The first, possibly the second best and the dirtiest hoax in UFO history. Walpert observed. So it said the first, possibly the second best. So what was the other UFO hoax? Okay. What was the other dirtiest hoax in UFO history? This was not the first one. The government, according to Werfield's observation, the government had thought seriously of prosecuting the men. At the last minute, it was decided after talking to the 2 men that the hoax was a harmless joke that had mushroomed, and the loss of 2 lives in a B-25 could not be directly blamed on the 2 men. It goes into a lot of stuff, y'all. And I want you to definitely do your research on a lot of stuff. I'm going to give on what other energy is around this. I'm going to give my final opinion on this right now. What I'm feeling, what I'm sensing. Of course, everything I say here is allegedly, it's all a matter of opinion until proven otherwise. If you're not aware, I am a spiritualist, a spiritual advisor. I've advised many people, different types of people, from, mom and dads, grandpa, grandmothers, brothers and sisters, to even some of your well-known entertainers. Okay, come on in here. I'm a proud spiritualist, and I take my job very seriously. So I'm going to tell you what I'm sensing, what I feel around all this stuff, particularly with the conspiracy of Area 51. I just feel like Area 51 is the outside. There's something on the outside presenting something that's going on deep within the inside. I do feel like Area 51 is housing a lot of documents and as well as a lot of equipment that could better assist the government in their research. Not on foreign objects and foreign life forms, but life forms that are on this planet that they don't even know how it got here. Okay? Whether you believe in outside beings come from the outside in, or you believe in beings are coming from the inside out, I feel that's what their Area 51 is dealing with. Going over into the conspiracy of Kenneth Arnold, Albert Arnold, I don't think this person was a real person. I feel like this energy was a made-up energy. I feel like this man was a real man, but I feel like the identity of this man is a cover-up of some sort. This man is connected to somebody, someone that was in higher position. This man looks even like this person. I'm going to leave it for you to decide who this man is connected to, who this man is related to. Interesting enough, going into the time of his so-called death, like I said, he saw allegedly, okay, 9 flying objects, which is 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, 3, 3, 3. 9 flying objects, unidentified objects, and he even estimated these things were flying a minimum of 12,000 miles per hour. How would you know that? And of course, they can be an aviator, but he's not a UFO specialist. He's not a ufologist. Okay, so how would he be able to know exactly it was 1,200 miles? How would he know that? Okay, going into Neptune, going into retrograde, going into the moon being into Virgo, going into Mercury sextiling Mars. There's a lot of evidence here that shows me that all this is planned. Also going into the connections of United States history of 1947, according to the United States Department of State archives, speaking about Cold War, speaking about a proposal between the American government and Soviet Union. A lot of Americans were not even caring about politics like that. They were only knowing about politics based on what was being printed. They had no information like we can look up information now. How ironic would it be that while that's going on, this stuff is going on? I always feel like when there's serious news that take place, somehow, some way, fake news get brought out, which is even more creepier, and it creates a whole bunch of energy, like beyond I can comprehend it, but beyond what I can even explain. And if you know, you know. I also find it ironic that also during Mercury sextiles Mars, after 2 events of this happening, mysteriously another person come forward near the Area 51, okay, in the same state, okay, because I think they said he's from Mansfield, but they would also discuss aliens and flying objects and things will be falling from the sky, and the police was in on it. And if you do not know, I'm going to let you know this now. The polices are connected to Mars energy. We also know that another term for aliens are Martians, right? They got movies out there about aliens coming from Mars. It would not be ironic, it would not be coincidental that this story would come out on Tuesday, June the 24th. It would not be coincidental that this would come out during the time that Mercury sextiles Mars, which is direct communication with Mars. It's basically like Mercury interviewing Mars. It's basically saying that Mars just has the platform, and Mars can talk and do what it is. It can express the way it could express itself the way it wants to express itself. I think that once again, the whole UFO thing is a cover-up. I think it was an elaborate story to be made, and they've been putting away documentation throughout the years to just experiment with people. Just see how far it was going to go, to cover up something bigger and greater. I do feel like the need of disclosure about these entities or about these energies is because we are dealing with a spiritual war. We've been dealing with the spiritual war since the beginning of time. And I feel like things are going to be revealed to us within the next coming year. I'm going to say the next coming years. I feel like something is going to be revealed to us between now and 2027. I do feel like, once again, that aliens are not what they say aliens are. And it's, of course, to keep us distracted from what's really at hand. Mysteriously, also around this time, a submarine or a submersible equipment also mysteriously went missing with these billionaires and disappeared. Around the same time, and I'm not connecting this to, because I'm just throwing out things here. I'm just talking. Elon Musk was also speaking about, and Jeff Bezos, which no one really have talked about him in such a long time. Everything's been about Elon Musk and the Facebook guy. Okay, can't remember his name. Either way, Jeff Bezos was talking about creating a moon satellite, a moon city, a moon. Oh, and it's so ironic too, because I'm sitting there thinking right now, I feel like it is the movie Neptune, Pluto, with Eddie Murphy, his security guard give me Jeff Bezos. Like, it's so crazy to even think about that right now. But I do feel like all of this is dealing with inner energies that they're trying to hide, they're trying to cover up. They also talked about bacteria being in the oceans. There's stuff going on in the waters. And, you know, you got all these videos coming out of fish walking on land and fish developing legs and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You guys, I really do feel like we're on the verge of some very amazing metaphysical, spiritual things. To close this up, in closing, to disclose, do I believe that alien deception or the topic of aliens are real or not? I don't think it's real. I definitely think it's a cover-up. I definitely think it's a false. It's a deception of some sort. And of course, I encourage all of you to give me your opinion. I would like to know, what do you think? I presented the evidence to you of the credited first UFO documented. What got headlines going on. I presented to you information, the person's name, their birth date, all that good stuff. Even the fact that they were connected to 3 6s and 9s. And if you are aware of anything that deals with 3 6 and 9 or anything with esoteric energy, you know what 3 6 9 means. Okay? I don't think that this man, once again, is an actual person. I believe it's a moniker name. I think that anytime alien activity is discussed, there is something else going on. Something that I also want to add to, one of the people that I love watching, when they were talking about the aliens being real, blah, 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 I couldn't help but think about how everyone is under a program. What type of program you're asking? I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? Alien deception, true or false? I would love to hear your feedback, your comments. I would love to hear your ideas. I would like to hear what you think about this. That is it for the very first episode of Beyond the 11th Gate. I appreciate y'all was gonna tune in. And of course, you'll see me again on another episode, okay? Once again, do you believe in aliens? Do you believe in the information that was presented to you by the government, that's being presented to you by the government? Do you believe in aliens? Anyway, bye for now.